know it sounds strange to say, but at one time EA actually excelled at racing games. Long before they became a beacon of mediocrity and loot crates, EA was capable of making some incredibly fun and creative titles like Nascar Rumble. Nascar Rumble is what you'd get if you took Mario Kart, combined it with EA's yearly release NASCAR racing games, and added the shortcut-ridden tracks of Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. NASCAR Rumble is a NASCAR take on the kart racing formula. This game isn't necessarily a kart racer, it's a stock-kart racer. The Mario Kart influence is obvious in NASCAR Rumble. While you race, you can hit power-up icons which give you offensive weapons to fling at your foes. Ranging from the freeze, which freezes your steering in whatever position you were holding when it hit you. It has the typical oil slicks which make your steering slippery. The Joker icon, which is a gamble that will either help you or hurt you, either giving you a power-up to fling at your opponents, or hitting you with bad gas or an oil slick. You have a better chance of getting something actually good out of an EA loot crate than you do of getting out of the Joker power-up. To things like the hammer and shockwave, where upon landing a hit send your opponents flying through the air. There's also a storm that blocks your view and messes with your steering capabilities, and a variety of others to be used against your unsuspecting foes, including the most epic and iconic power-up that is, rightfully, the most fondly remembered, the Tornado power-up, which allows you or your foes to send a devastating tornado up the track which sends everyone flying and tumbling through the air. Add in unlockables like new vehicles and tracks chock full of hidden shortcuts to find, and a great sense of speed onto all these satisfying power-ups, and you have the formula for one of the PS1's most fondly remembered alternative racers. This game is an outright blast to play. The name of the game in NASCAR Rumble is Fast Fun Mayhem, where the kart racing, power-up racing, and sense of speed lead to some truly thrilling racing, where you are battling your foes while trying to hit all the shortcuts in each track. It's chaotic fun, where some races bog down into cars flying everywhere around the track as you navigate through, sometimes being caught into some spectacular crashes yourself. The triangle button is the reset button to put you back on the track, and you'll be pressing it a lot in this game. There's nothing quite like narrowly avoiding a tornado that is chasing behind you by ducking into a shortcut just off the main track. This game can be truly exhilarating in its racing. It can also get extremely crazy if you set the power-ups to mayhem, meaning there are extra power-up pickups in each map for the maximum amount of chaos possible. Power-up pickups can also be turned off or turned lower in the options menu. As in Mario Kart, you progress by beating 6 racing cups with 3 tracks each, with the option to play the Wild Card Cup, which has random tracks, and the EA Cup, which requires you to play through 6 races. Once you beat the main cups in the Rookie class, you unlock the Pro class, where the cars are faster and your AI opponents are tougher. Upon beating the same 6 in Pro class, you unlock the Elite class, where the cars are even faster and the AI opponents hit every shortcut and hit you with every power-up possible. The game's difficulty curve is gradual with each cup, but the Elite class opponents are total cheaters, able to catch up to you very quickly. There's nothing quite like getting hit with 3 storms in a row, then 2 tornadoes, a freeze, and then 2 opponents with hammers that catch up with you quickly. When this game cheats, it cheats good. You don't have to go it alone though, because the game lets you play the cups either by yourself or in a racing team with one other teammate who's either controlled by a second human player or an AI friend, which is actually a pretty cool idea, playing off the NASCAR theme, where NASCAR has teams. There is a ton of racing to be had if you plan on unlocking everything in the game. Not only do you have to play through the racing cups 3 times for each difficulty, there are 3 extra tracks to unlock, like the Circus Minimus track, which is best played on the Mayhem level of power-ups for the most hectic racing experience you'll probably ever have, or at least one of them. The Circus Minimus track can be completely insane, and it's super fun to play. On top of the 3 extra tracks to unlock, there are hidden areas in various maps that contain wrenches, collecting which unlocks a special vehicle like an RV, a golf cart, a rocket car, and etc. So not only are the maps honeycombed with hidden shortcuts, but those shortcuts have even more hidden areas to unlock new vehicles. This game has secrets within its secrets. There is a lot of racing and unlockables in the game. I guess you could technically always just put in a cheat code to unlock everything, but it's more satisfying to hunt down each secret on your own. Graphically, the game looks great by PS1 standards. It may not look like much on a modern display, but what looks like weird dithering if you're using a modern TV is actually blended on a CRT TV to give each car a glossy, freshly polished look. You can still see it a little on a modern display, but the effect makes the cars look like they have a glossy look on a CRT, which, as sad as it sounds, looked great for the time. The game also has a great sense of speed, even for a console as old as the PS1. Whether playing it on a PS3 like I am here, or on a PS2 like I am here, the game moves fast, which helps add to the feeling of chaos in the game. Even with two-player split screen, it still has a good sense of speed. Looks like EA made some very wise cuts in the split screen mode in order to make it run as good as it could. Overall, the game runs well, but the extra sense of speed does make the controls feel a little bit slippery and jittery overall. Granted, I do play this game with a D-pad because it just feels natural to me, not owning a proper DualShock until I got a PS3 later. This game is far from a sim racing game that would usually punish you for rubbing on the side of a wall, and it doesn't feel so much like you're turning around a corner then sliding around a corner. I generally found myself rubbing the wall in most turns, but without the normal punishment to my speed for doing so. There are times where clipping a wall can stop you in your place or even knock you backwards mid-race. Luckily, you have the fast reset button to use. The controls overall are responsive, if not a little slippery feeling. The engine sounds in the game sound great, as do the effects. The game does have an annoying, pointless announcer whose dialogue gets old pretty fast, but you can go into the options menu and mute him. The music consists of generic sounding southern rock style tracks, and is by default set too low to hear under the sounds of the engines. You can also turn the music volume up in the same options menu where you can mute the announcer. I usually just leave it at the default setting myself, but the option is there if you want to use it. The sound design is okay overall. Some people may find the announcer to be incredibly annoying. I've just learned to tolerate him. I will say though, one cool aspect of the sound design is that when you are going through a tunnel, even the announcer sounds like he's in the tunnel with you. It's a small thing, but it's a really neat touch.
Go! Slippery when wet.
The bottom line, even if you're an American and hate NASCAR, NASCAR Rumble is still a must-play alternative racing game on the PS1. Part NASCAR, part Mario Kart, all fun. The racing is chaotic and fun, and the power-ups are really inventive. The tracks are well designed, and exploration is rewarded with the finding of shortcuts throughout the maps. This game is just a full chaotic tornado of fun. The PS1 has some great kart racing games like Crash Team Racing, but if you want to play the PS1's best stock-kart racing game, look into NASCAR Rumble. It's fondly remembered amongst PS1 gamers for a very good reason. And if NASCAR Rumble interests you, or maybe you're just a huge fan of this game, EA did develop a PS2 sequel without the NASCAR license called Rumble Racing, which improved upon the original in a number of ways, like improving the power-ups, improving the handling and controls, and the best addition, borrowing the stunt ability from San Francisco Rush 2049, where you could spin your car around and do some cool mid-air flips, and giving the player a turbo boost for successfully landing said tricks. Rumble Racing is still one of the best alternative racing games on the PS2. If you're looking for a great PS2 racing game to play, look into Rumble Racing.
Reminds me of when I was shot out of that cannon. You came in fit.